carbocation. For example, if you take this particular 1-butanol as an example, so when it comes to 1-butanol, after proton is removed, after proton is added and oxygen ion is formed and H2O molecule is being removed, we will end up having a primary carbocation, which is the least stable carbocation. But our beta carbon, whatever the carbon adjacent to our carbon with a positive charge, is a secondary. So we will try to do a rearrangement, and that rearrangement can be by shifting H minus, or by shifting CH minus, or by shifting C6H5 minus. So any of these three can be shifted from beta position to alpha position initially, so that the carbocation charge, like positive charge from alpha to beta carbon, will happen in the next step. So here also same thing, from beta position, which are adjacent 1 comma 2, we are shifting a hydride, because only H is the possibility for us to shift. We cannot shift the ethyl group. So what do? We remove the H plus, where, sorry, we remove hydride ion, not H plus. That is also one thing you have to understand, because we want carbocation, not carbanion as our intermediate for E1. So we will be removing hydrogen as H minus, and because of that, carbon at the beta position initially will end up having a positive charge because it has lost its share of bond pair. Now the alpha carbon means initially the one which has lost the OH group will end up adding this H minus coming from the adjacent carbon. So you have CH3, the charge is compromised over here. So after 1 comma 2 hydride shift or the rearrangement, it can be through hydride or methyl group or phenyl group, we end up having a better carbocation. And after that, we will check the possible removal for beta hydrogens, and the most stable one will be the most substituted alkane. So we will end up having but2ene as our major product, and but1ene. It is also possible, but it's gonna be in uh, it will be a minor product. Okay, so this is Wagner rearrangement or 1 comma 2 arrangement or simple rearrangement of alcohols. This main reason for rearrangement is to get a stable carbocation. Why we are talking about stable carbocation means everything we have dealt till now, the mechanism part, with respect to E1 only we have seen. So if you remember the E1 mechanism, the intermediate was carbocation. So if this more is the stable carbocation, more is the stable alkene formed, like which will form after beta removal, beta hydrogen removal. So the reaction itself, the mechanism itself requires a carbocation, and that too we will do the extra arrangement, rearrangement and all to get, if at all any beta carbon is secondary or primary, like whatever we require, just so that we will have a stable carbocation. So remember, this rearrangement will happen in E1 mechanism only. So what exactly happens in E2 mechanism? Because any of the mechanisms can be followed for this dehydration, right? Just like dehydrohallucination. So we will try to see E2 mechanism in today's class. Will there be rearrangement? If not, or like let's see all the possibilities and other factors which will be affecting the dehydration part of dehydration part to get alkenes. Okay, so take down the heading as E2 reaction for dehydration. E2 reaction. Wait a minute, let me write the date. E2 mechanism for dehydration. So today it's 19th. So take down E2 mechanism. E2 mechanism for dehydration. So what do we form as intermediate during E2 mechanism? Will it be a charged species or neutral species? What exactly will be our reaction intermediate for E2? It will be a neutral species. There won't be any charged species when it comes to E2 mechanism. And E2 means unimolecular. Both the substrate means both our reactant and the reagent. Here our reagent will be the conjugate base, that is coming from the acid. So the rate will be directly proportional to the reactant and the conjugate base that will be formed from the acid conjugate base. Why conjugate base is coming into the picture means dehydration. Most of the times we will be using concentrated H2SO4, right? And this will be providing the H plus for our reaction. So let's see a normal reaction and from where we will take it forward. So take a simple same butanol example only. Butane 1-ol. So we have CH3, CH2, 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 OH. So this is butanol, and on using concentrated H2SO4 and by heating it, we end up having only one type of product, CH3, CH2, CH double bond CH2. Okay, you might be having a doubt why is butene is not formed in this reaction. So in order to understand that, we need to do the mechanism part step by step. So here we have two steps, like just like E2 normal E2, here also we have two steps. I mean, yeah, single step reaction only, but two parts are there for this step. Okay, so I'll write them separately only to get clarity. So when it comes to step one, it will be protonation, addition of H plus, because we are performing the reaction in presence of a strong acid, which will give us H plus. So the first step will be protonation of alcohol to give oxonium ion, same like in E1. Actually, mm, okay, it's okay. Let's keep it. Let's see. So CH3, CH2, 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 OH. So this is our alcohol, and in presence of H plus, this H plus in presence of an acid will get added on to our alcohol. If they give a compound and ask which is more favorable for E2 or E1, then how to tell? For example, 1-butanol. Yes, actually, yes, I will. Once we do this E2 mechanism, I will give you small note points. From there, we can take it. I will let you know what are the criteria to be considered before we go on with E1 mechanism or E2 mechanism. There are certain things I will let you know definitely after this E2 mechanism. I'll give you note points. Okay, you'll understand. So we have in the first step, H plus will be added onto the oxygen to give us CH3, CH2, 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 OH, and H, and oxygen with the positive charge. Now, what will happen is in the second step, acha, I'll write everything in single step only. Why to confuse? Because for E2 mechanism, we will do a single step where like a continuous reaction will be there, right? So I will do the same. So protonation of alcohol to give oxonium ion, and attack of conjugate base A minus on the beta carbon to remove beta hydrogen, Okay, so this is the first step. Addition of proton will be called as protonation. Will be called as protonation. Instead of H plus, if we take some acid, say for example H2SO4 you have taken, and this H2SO4 will be dissociating into H plus and HSO4 minus, right? So this HSO4 minus is the conjugate base A minus here. So don't get confused. What is A minus? A minus is the conjugate base of the acid part. So if you take H2SO4 as an acid, after the loss of H plus, we will have HSO4 minus. That will be our conjugate base. So once the H plus attacks on the lone pair of OH, especially on the oxygen, whatever the A minus or HSO4 minus part is there, that will be attacking or interacting with the beta hydrogen over here. So let me take beta hydrogen. So this is our beta hydrogen, right? This is alpha and this is beta. So our HSO4 minus will be interacting with this one. Now This is the rate determining step from this part to the next part, where this electron pair will be withdrawn by the oxygen, and this hydrogen will be withdrawn by the acid, and this electron pair will be forming a new pi bond over here. So what do we have? I'll write the skeletal structure, and from there I will let you know what is the product. So this is the skeletal structure, right? What's happening? Initially, this part will be removed as water molecule, H2O. And in the second one, the H plus from the beta position will be removed as H2SO4. Whatever the acid we have taken initially, it will be regenerated. So what exactly is happening? In the first step, after the loss of these electron pair by the carbon, obviously this will have a positive charge. And what's happening? The electron pair, carbon hydrogen electron pair is donated over here. So a new pi bond will be formed here. So you will be getting but 1 in. You will be getting but 1 in. So I'll explain the mechanism again. We have butane 1-ol. So this is a primary alcohol. Now we are trying to understand the formation of alkene through E2 mechanism, where the rate of the reaction will be directly proportional to our substrate or reactant, and also to our reagent. Especially in this particular reaction, our reagent will be the conjugate base. So both the substrate, this is the slow step or rate determining step. That's the reason why the reactant over here, I mean the starting molecule for this rate determining step, is the one where our reactant along with the reagent, both of them are having certain interaction going on. Both of them are involved in the rate determining step, and that's why this is bimolecular or simply E2 reaction. That's the reason why we are dealing with under E2 mechanism. So when it comes to E2 mechanism, what will happen? There will be simultaneous removal from alpha position and beta position. So what are the groups removed from alpha position? The oxygen will withdraw the electron pair so that it can form water molecule. And from beta position, hydrogen will be withdrawn as H plus by the conjugate base, that is HSO4 minus, and that will be removed as H2SO4. And what are the leftover things in the basic parent chain? We have 4 carbons, the one where OH is lost and the one where H is lost. It will form a new pi bond, and the electrons are coming from the cleavage of this CH. Okay, so this is E2 elimination. So when it comes to E2 elimination, there won't be rearrangement. There won't be rearrangement, because if it is a carbocation, to form a carbocation, can we even use alcoholic KOH as the reagent. Alcoholic KOH is just a base. Acidic thing should be used to remove the acidic hydrogen. Whatever the beta hydrogen we have, beta hydrogen is the acidic hydrogen. If we use alcoholic KOH, I don't think it will move forward. It will oxidize instead of removing H. So this is dehydration. Dehydration will always happen in presence of acids or acidic oxides. So we cannot use alcoholic KOH. We can use any of the acids, H2SO4, H3PO4, or KHSO4, or something like a P2O5. All these things can be used, or P4O10, something like that. Because dehydration, removal of water molecule. Is it a single step reaction? Generally, in books and all, they divide it two, but from the start we have been doing a single step reaction only. So here also you take a single step reaction, but two parts will be there. First part will be addition of proton, and the second part will be attack of this base in order to remove the beta hydrogen. So there are two parts in the same equation. But We can write it 2 steps also, but better we stick to the basics. We did a single step reaction for E2 from the start, right? So let's take it in that way only. Okay, so what's happening here? There is no rearrangement as you have observed in E1. Why there is no rearrangement is E2, when it comes to E2 reaction, the intermediate will be a neutral species. So if it is a neutral species, then there is no point or there is no need to talk about stability because it's already like you don't have any comparison when it comes to neutral species, right? There will be simultaneous removal, that's it. Only when charged species like be it a carbocation or carbanion, or even for carbon like carbon free radicals also, where you have the order for stabilities, then we will look for any scope to get a better stable or the higher stable one. Whereas when it comes to E2, there won't be any rearrangement. Whatever the product that we expect, the same thing will be our outcome due to one in. There is no chance for multiple products also, because there is only one scope from the alpha and beta, whatever wherever the OH group is present, from there itself there will be elimination of H2O. Simple. So there won't be any rearrangement when it comes to E2 reaction, because there is no need for rearrangement. The reason is no charged species, so we don't need to look for uh, any chances for further stable carbocation or something like that. So the driving force for the rearrangement. So you can note down why in even rearrangement happen means the driving force for rearrangement the driving force for rearrangement in one will be to get a very stable or the possible stable carbocation, because the reaction intermediate is carbocation itself. So this, to get stable carbocation, that is the reason why rearrangement happens in E1. In E2 there is no need for such stability because already we are having a neutral species. That's the reason why there won't be any rearrangement. But still there are two parts for this equation. First thing is addition of H plus onto the oxygen of alcohol group. Second thing is the removal of beta hydrogen by the conjugate base that we are taking care. Okay, so this is for E2. And just now you are asking in what situations can we apply even mechanism and E2 mechanism, because for the same butane one all we have seen but 2ene as the major product when we were taking E1 mechanism into consideration. When we are taking E2 mechanism into consideration, we are taking the major product as but1ene. So how can we decide what, like in the exam if they ask how to decide which is the major product? Okay, so for that they will directly give you to consider when it comes to primary alcohols, they will directly give you the scenarios whether to, like in the question itself they will mention by what by let's say by E1 mechanism the major product formed for this reactant is, or by E2 mechanism the major product formed in this reaction is. So take a proper note here. So in the question, if they ask for even mechanism, then look for any chances to get a stable cation by rearrangement. So when it comes to, if they mention E2 mechanism, there won't be any rearrangement. So whatever the product we expect, the same product will appear in the reactant mixture. So this is one way of looking whether E1 and E2. Like if they give us the option, one way is if they give us E1, look for any possible rearrangement. If they give E2, directly go for whatever the product that we expect. So that is obvious. That is one obvious thing. And second thing is considering the stabilities. So what do we know when it comes to carbocations? Let's say some tertiary alcohols we have, and secondary alcohols we have, and primary alcohols we have. So most of the times when they give you different types of alcohols, always consider what is the type of carbocation that is formed by E1. What is the type of carbocation formed? Because in most of the questions they won't give what mechanism to consider. Then how do we proceed in such cases? So the first and important criteria that you should look into, what is the type of carbocation that we end up when we follow E1 mechanism. So always look for E1 mechanism and then go for E2 mechanism. So what do we have when it is a tertiary alcohol? We will have tertiary carbocation. Secondary means secondary. Primary alcohol means primary carbocation, and we have the stability orders: tertiary greater than, secondary greater than, tertiary greater than, secondary and primary. So always tertiary greater than, secondary greater than primary. So this order you keep in mind. So accordingly, since tertiary is the most stable one of all the three types of carbocations possible, it will always follow E1 reaction only. It will always follows E1 mechanism only. Why? Because in E1 only we end up having a carbocation, right? So it will always follows E1 reaction to get alkene. Now, not only for tertiary, even for secondary also to some extent, always follows E1 mechanism. Why? Because they are comparatively more stable than primary. So what happens to the primary alcohol then? For secondary and tertiary, because they are higher in stability, we have attributed the E1 reaction. Then what about primary alcohol? Now this primary alcohol should be done, the analysis, what is the type of product, should be done in two ways: by looking at our beta carbon atom, because most of the cases 1-2 rearrangement was between alpha and beta carbon, right? So if the beta carbon is either secondary or quaternary, in the sense if it is attached to 3 other carbon atoms, or if it is attached to 4 other carbon atoms, then after rearrangement we end up having a better stable carbocation rearrangement. Then we use E1 reaction. We follow the E1 reaction. So scroll down is 1 second. Okay. So if our beta carbon is either tertiary or quaternary, we can go for rearrangement, and this rearrangement will be there in E1 reaction. Now, if the primary alcohol, whatever we have, the beta carbon is still a primary carbon only, or even in secondary carbon, okay, if secondary carbon even it is comparatively less stable when compared to tertiary and quaternary, right? So we can go for E2 reaction. And now here, like some what do you say, give or take, need not to be, excuse me, we can either go for E1 and E2 actually when you have secondary carbon, just like we did in the previous case for butanol. We ended up having a secondary carbocation. So, okay. Okay, let me include here also secondary also, because we did rearrangement even when we had secondary carbocation, right? But most of the times if we have tertiary or quaternary, always go for rearrangement by taking carbocation, and we end up having products based on that. If the beta carbon is still a primary carbon and secondary carbon to some extent, but secondary carbon can also be considered for rearrangement. So just take this down, but consider rearrangement and give the product. If it is still primary carbon only, the beta carbon, you can go for